So, Governor Hochul, open your eyes, take off your tinfoil hat, head down to the streets and the subways in New York and see for yourself. And by the way, if it's so safe, I'm sure you won't need your security with you. Kathy Hochul seems not to care about the crime because she only cares about herself and her adherence to the insanity of defund, dismantle, and New York's insane no-bail laws. All right, joining us now with more, New York gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin, along with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's been out campaigning. He was out on Long Island this weekend. By the way, before I get to Lee Zeldin, Governor DeSantis, I got to tell you, you might be hurting your great state of Florida, because a lot of the migration to Florida is coming from New York. And if Lee Zeldin did a good job as governor, I'm thinking that might keep people in New York, and that's going to be bad for the people of Florida. That's less income for your state. Are you sure you really want to support this guy?
Well, Sean, you know, I've had so many people move from New York and they are so frustrated with the poor governance up there. And look, Florida's great. You know, we're a great spot for a lot of people, but I want all our states to do well. And the fact of the matter is, from crime to fiscal mismanagement to COVID restrictions, New York has gotten it wrong. Lee Zeldin will get it right. And I think that that'll be better for our country if he's elected governor.
And I know you've been on the campaign trail with him and up in Long Island, my neck of the woods, this past weekend. Lee Zeldin, I don't know if those are people behind you because I don't see faces. All I see are Lee Zeldin signs. Oh, there we go. We actually have real faces there. You know, I spoke to you when you first got into this race, and you asked me what I thought. I said it's possible, but it's probably really difficult. Here you are now on the precipice. You're leading in this poll. It's a very tight race. It's the bluest of blue states. Will you shock the entire country 1 week from tonight?
We definitely will, Sean, and we're here right now on Staten Island. Great crowds here. When Governor DeSantis came up, it was on 24 hours notice. We had over 7,000 RSVPs. It was amazing. We're so grateful that Governor DeSantis had come up. The support that we're getting around the state, we have all the momentum on our side, all the energy on our side. We have the issues on our side. People are done with Kathy Hochul, and this is Republicans, Democrats, and Independents all together as New Yorkers to be able to save this state. So I remember that conversation with you early on in this campaign. We stuck with the issues. We want secure streets. We want to make life in New York more affordable. We want to protect freedom. We want to improve the quality of our kids' education. And because we've stayed disciplined, focused on the issues, and Kathy Hochul's been trying to, follow distractions and tell people there's nothing to see here. There's no crime going on. When I'm trying to talk about locking up criminals, she's saying, I don't understand why this is so important to you. As you pointed out from last week's debate, we feel it. We just got to keep working hard. Everyone out there needs to get out and vote, vote, vote.
Obviously, she's not looking at the statistics. You know, when you compare New York and Florida, you have an amazing statistic. I know Governor DeSantis, the population now of Florida is higher than New York, but you work with half the budget of New York State. And not only half the budget, you don't have a state income tax. In New York, it's 10%. If you live in New York City, it's another 3.5%. If you add that to the federal income tax, that's 53 cents out of every dollar you're giving the government, and that's before sales taxes, high property taxes, et cetera. How do you do it with so much less and so with less taxes as well in Florida?
Well, it's interesting because the people that move from New York, they will tell me, hey, your roads are better here. Your infrastructure is better here. Your services are better. And we just finished third and fourth, respectively, for fourth grade reading and fourth grade math. I think New York was in the 30s. So our K-12 is performing better. Look, I think the issue is right now in New York State, there's nobody who's an advocate for the taxpayer. Basically, the taxpayers are treated disrespectfully. The politicians divvy all this up. I think they give it to a lot of special interests. So Lee Zeldin as governor will mean that the people of New York actually have somebody looking out for taxpayers for a change. And all we do in Florida, we just respect taxpayers. You know, we want no income tax, of course, tax lightly, spend reasonably. We do meet all the big priorities, but we are absolutely going to respect the taxpayers. Lee will do that in New York, and it'll make a big, big difference, not just for individuals, but for businesses.
You know, Lee Zeldin, I look at New York's tax rates. I mean, but more importantly, New Yorkers are really suffering under Biden inflation. Gas prices now over $4 a gallon and going higher every day. We now have a real problem in terms of the illegal immigrant population now moving to New York in big numbers. That's part of the problem. That's a big issue. Law and order, safety and security for people. And one thing that New York is dealing with more than, say, Florida is woke education versus classical education. Will you be able to deal with all of those issues, especially if you're dealing with a liberal legislature in Albany?
We have to. And right out of the gate, we are going to declare what shouldn't even require a declaration, but parents have a fundamental right to control the upbringing of their child. They don't relinquish that right by sending their kids off to school. It is important that our kids are going to school for a quality education. And, you know, as Governor DeSantis was just pointing out, the gaps are actually even wider when you look at black students, Hispanic students, and low-income students. You look at the fourth grade reading and math down in Florida compared to the black students, Hispanic students, low-income students up in New York. And New York spends 2.5 times more per pupil than Governor DeSantis is doing down in Florida. So we have to look at outcomes. And by the way, one other thing is that we have to make the diploma worth more. Some kids aren't going to go off to college. Getting their hands on equipment, networking with trades, that technical education, people need to understand that that diploma is a ticket to a good paying job. So yeah, it's about education policy as well. New York has fallen behind. Every kid, regardless of race, ethnicity, wealth, zip code, deserves access to a quality education. When we're spending 2.5 times as much as Florida, you should be getting darn good, better outcomes than what we're seeing right now.
So you've had President Trump supporting you. You have Ron DeSantis campaigning with you. You had Glenn Youngkin campaigning with you. Are you surprised that this has garnered as much national attention as it has in New York, and that when this poll came out, that you're up in this race and how winnable it is? When you break down the math, you've got a city like New York with a very high concentration of people in a very small geographic area. But then the rest of New York State, Long Island is now red. Upstate New York is now red. What percentage of the Democratic vote, where Democrats outnumber Republicans in New York City 9-1, what percentage of that vote do you think you can get, or do you think you need to get in order to actually win the race?
We're now cracking into the low 20s. That is a good place. We look at it geographically. In New York City, we can't get less than 30%, or we can't win. But if you get more than 35%, then it starts to become really difficult to lose. And I'll tell you, I'm seeing it on Staten Island,
what did
Bay
Curtis
Ridge,
Lee
Brighton
get?
Beach, middle of Village.
What
So
did
Curtis got
get?
about 29%. Curtis got
So you're
about
right there.
29%. And we are now polling in the 30s. Some of the polls that have been coming out are showing us mid to high 30s. There are Democrats who feel like the party has gone too far left. Democrats who might register Democrat because they want their vote to matter, voting for the most normal person, if there is a normal person in a primary. There are Democrats who want safe streets. They oppose congestion pricing. They oppose COVID vaccine mandates. There's a reason why New Yorkers are heading down to Florida. They see that Governor DeSantis down in Florida respects freedom. He's reversed attacks on wallets, on safety. He is someone who is just welcoming businesses, individuals, and family to have an American dream down there. And unfortunately, everyone's gone. And the bad news for Governor DeSantis is that he's about to lose his best real estate agent. She's going to be fired 1 week from today. And I want to bring these people back from Florida. Ron should send us a few before next week.
Governor DeSantis, he may regret this decision in the end. Governor, I know you're really nervous. You and Senator Rubio have got to be scared to death because Joe Biden was down campaigning against you in Florida today, and I'm sure that really upset you.
I think it's an in-kind contribution to my campaign, and I just want to make the offer publicly. We will underwrite him to stay in Florida for the rest of the campaign. If Joe wants to stay, it'll be on our dime, and we'd love for the people of Florida to be reminded that the Democrats in this state are with Biden 100% of the time.
This will be the political shocker a week from tonight if you win this race. Lee Zeldin now in a lead in the latest poll up in New York. Thank you for being with us. Governor DeSantis, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.